بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. I start with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the unconditionally loving, the unconditionally compassionate, and may the best of peace and blessings be upon the final Prophet, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, who was sent as a mercy to all mankind, and may the best of peace and blessings be upon all other prophets as well. Dear beloved brothers and sisters, I greet you with the greetings of Islam, the greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Today we are with a new story. But before we dive in, I'd like to mention an issue that I already mentioned earlier about our series. What we are doing is we are taking stories from the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And these stories, sometimes you find different narrations related to different details. So what we are doing here, we are not looking at the details. We are looking at the lessons that we learn from these stories. Therefore, especially this story and other stories also, we have different narrations, different details. For the time limit, I will take only one of them, that we can shed light on a point, on a lesson that we learn from, and we go with it. So if you already know the story with different narrations, so that is not an issue, because we have always different narrations. Today we are speaking about Adi Bin Hatem Atta'i. Adi Bin Hatem means the son of Hatem. Atta'i means from the tribe of Tai, like Al-Qurashi, for example. So from Quraysh, the tribe of Quraysh. So Hatem Atta'i, his father, is a popular figure among the Arabs, even until today. After 1400 and some years ago, still people mention Hatem Atta'i because he was a very generous king. So generous, it is said that he doesn't eat, he never ate alone. Whenever he wants to eat, he must have a guest with him to eat together at least. So he was a generous king. That's why he was known he's known until today. And even today, if we want to tell someone he's so generous, we say he is generous like Hatem Atta'i, even until today. So Adi bin Hatem Atta'i, when his father, he was the king, the chief of his people, when he died, the people chose his son Adi bin Hatem to be the leader after his father. Adi bin Hatem became the leader, and he took 25% of the income, like 25% tax. Imagine, those are very, very good king in the era of ignorance in the Jahiliyyah. They took 25% and people give them 25%. Now if the tax reached 10%, it is a big problem. This country maybe we cannot live in. But in the era of Jahiliyyah, injustice, they took 25% and people are okay with that, because that's why we need Islam to come and free those human beings who are enslaved by those kings. Adi bin Hatem, when he heard of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he hated it. He hated this call to Islam. He felt that if I will follow him, I will be stripped of my position. I will be no more a leader. I will be a follower. Whereas this is not true. Totally not true, because there are other kings who believed in Rasulullah, like An-Najashi, for example, and Rasulullah kept them as they are. But sometimes what happens when shaitan takes over of us, when shaitan misleads us, he brings us these kinds of whispers to imagine things not as they really are. So he and his tribe refused Islam. Most of people became Muslim, but he and his people refused out of the hypes and propaganda that were there, even from that time. Not only, this is not something new today. The hype, and the propaganda. We mentioned previously, if you remember, the story of Thumama bin Uthal and also the story of Ikrimah bin Abi Jahl radiallahu anhum, the same scenario happened to them because of the hypes and the propaganda. They did not believe in Rasulullah until almost the last year in his life. And if you look at the time of Rasulullah, the companions who were taking decisions based on these hypes and propaganda, they were not successful. Some of them died non-Muslim, some of them became so late, and to be so late Muslim, not like the early Muslims. So the companions who were really successful, those who didn't follow the hypes. And we mentioned previously, if you remember, At-Tufail bin Amr, and also other companions who came to Rasulullah when they heard of him. Sayyidina Abu Dharr as well. They came to Rasulullah. If you didn't watch these stories, you can go back to them. They came to Rasulullah to check by themselves and decide whether he is truly Rasulullah or not. So it is the same now. Do not follow the hypes, especially when it comes from the media. So Adi Bin Hatem says, one day I told my servant, prepare some camels for me, strong camels, make them ready next to me, feed them well for long travel. And if you hear the army of Muhammad coming around, let me know. So this servant did what he asked him to do, and one day came to him and said, what you were planning to do when the army of Muhammad comes, do it now, because the army comes. So he took his family immediately and on the camels and ran away, kept running away, and they didn't stop until they felt certain that no one will follow them. They stopped and they checked, did they leave anyone behind them? And he discovered that he left his sister behind. So see now what happens when shaitan takes over of us. He knows, he prepared the camels. He knew that he will run away. He knew that if he runs away, no more will be a king. His people will be angry of him because he left them and he ran away. Anyway, you are losing your position as a king if you don't believe. If he is really a seasoned leader, a very clever leader, that means he should not do that. Because if he goes to Rasulullah ﷺ, there is a possibility, even though he doesn't know that Rasulullah kept the kings as they are, kept everyone in his position, and even gave him more honor in Islam. But at least, if you don't know, at least there is a chance. Go send someone to him, make a bargain with him, ask him, maybe he keeps you as a king. We don't know. Why you are going to the other way, that anyway you are losing your leadership? Why you didn't think about bargaining with him? Maybe I remain a king. Maybe I find a way better than this, losing everything and running away. But this is when shaitan blinds us. We don't see realities, even we don't see what is good for ourselves. When he discovered that his sister was left behind, he couldn't come back to take her because he will be captured. So he just left her and continued his way to the Levant. The Levant is Asham, which is now 4 countries, Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, and Jordan, somewhere there. So from somewhere around Medina to the Levant. And he stayed there and started asking about his sister to find some news. So we have here 2 narrations. The Muslims brought those people who didn't run away from the tribe of Ta'i, the tribe of Adi Bin Hatem, to Rasulullah. Put them next to Rasulullah. Women were put inside a special place for them, for their privacy, near the masjid, just outside the masjid. Why is this? Because the hype and the propaganda that was so immense. 22 years, almost all Arabia became Muslim, and they didn't. They were refusing. So there must be a different way of showing them the message of Islam, which is bringing them to the environment of the masjid of Rasulullah, to the environment of the true environment of Islam and Muslims. Let them experience it firsthand, see it by themselves. Then if they want to believe, that's good. If they don't want to believe, they are free. But at least make sure that the propaganda and the hype is, abolished. So there must be a way. They brought them to, near the masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah passed by them, and the sister of Adi said to him, in the first riwayah, it says, Ya Rasulullah, halak al-walid. Ya Rasulullah, my father passed away. وغاب الوافد, the one who will save me is absent now. Her brother, the king, is absent, run away. فَمْنٌ عَلَيَّ مَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكَ. Grant me a favor, may Allah grant you a favor. Rasulullah asked her, Man wafiduki, who is your saver? Who is the one who will save you? She said, Adi. So Rasulullah knew that she belongs to the family of the king. Again, the next day, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed by them, and she said to him the same thing, and Rasulullah gave her the same answer. When she said فَمْنٌ عَلَيْهِ, grant me a favor, she means let me free. This is the favor she wants. But Rasulullah did not let her free because he has a plan. He has a plan in mind. If he lets her free from the first time, she will not see Islam. So Rasulullah wants her to experience at least 3 days, see Islam by yourself, and then you leave. As happened with Thumama bin Uthal radiallahu anhu, if you remember that story. Now the third day Rasulullah passed by them, but this time she said she didn't speak to him, because she said to herself, I already asked him twice. If he wants to let me free, he already let me free, but he doesn't want, so I just keep my honor and respect myself and keep silent. He doesn't want. But then a man was behind Rasulullah noting to her, speak to him, pointing to her. So she came and said to him the same, Ya Rasulullah, halak al-walid, my father passed away. وغاب الوافد, my savior is absent. فَمْنٌ عَلَيَّ, grant me a favor. مَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكَ, may Allah grant you a favor. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, فَعَلْت, I did. But وَلَكِنْ لَا تَعْجَلِي, do not. Then when he said to her, فَعَلْت, I do, after 3 days, she saw Rasulullah, she saw Islam, she saw the love. She saw the beauty of Islam. Islam doesn't need to be beautified and ornamented. It is beautiful in itself. We just need to showcase it. We need to understand that beauty and show that beauty to others. We don't need to make up some things to show the beauty of Islam. 3 days only. Now, after 3 days, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to her, he was the enemy. Now, she flipped to make him the first one she trusts. And that's why she said to him, Ya Rasulullah, I'm planning to leave, to follow my brother to the Levant. So she is taking the consultation, because Rasulullah, she is not taking permission. Rasulullah told her, you are free, go whatever you want. But now she consults him, I'm gonna leave. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to her, do not haste until you find some people that you really trust, because she is gonna travel for long distance in the desert. Maybe that will take her a month on a camel mount. It is dangerous on the way. She might be killed. She might be raped. She's a woman alone. So Rasulullah advised her not to travel until she finds people that she truly trusts, and then she travels with them. She remained there learning Islam, see the companions of Rasulullah, see Rasulullah, until she found people that she trusts from her tribe. She told Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah gave her a camel, gave her money, gave her food, gave her clothes that will make it enough for her to reach, the Levant, to follow her family. And her brother Adi Bin Hatem said, we were asking travelers who travel from Medina to us asking them about her. Did you say her? What happened to the tribe of Ta'i? And then he said, we were hearing good news that Rasulullah was very good to them, did not enslave them, did not kill them, did not, do anything wrong to them. He freed my sister. He said, I don't believe that. How come Muhammad is good like that? How come he do things good like that? All we heard about him is he is a very bad person. That's why we didn't believe in him. So things, he almost didn't believe. How come such a bad person? This is what the propaganda said about Rasulullah. Do such good things. He said, until one day I was sitting and a woman on a camel with hawdaj. Hawdaj is a small compartment that is put on the back of the camel for women to sit inside when they travel, to give them some privacy. And this was for rich women, only rich family. Not everyone can afford to get this hawdaj, this compartment. So he said, I saw a woman in a hawdaj. And she was approaching us until I discovered that she is my sister. So the first message, see how Rasulullah is. Rasulullah knows how to send messages, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is taught by Allah. He taught him wisdom, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the first message is that your sister is traveling like rich people. She is not enslaved. She is the daughter of a king, the sister of a king. So Rasulullah dealt with her on that basis. The camel, the hawdaj, the clothes, the food, the money that gave her, equal to her status. Sending message to her brother and to others that Islam is beautiful. Islam comes to free human being. What is Islam? Islam means you surrender yourself to Allah. This is the meaning of Islam. And when you surrender yourself to Allah, your will, Allah doesn't want anything from you. Not at all. But what Allah loves from us is, Allah wants us to live a happy life in dunya and then a happy life in the akhirah. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent us the books and prophets and teachings to make us happy. That's it. This is all that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us. That is the meaning of Islam. So that is one narration about the Sufana, her name Sufana, the sister of Adi Bin Hatem. We have another narration here that says, she said to him, instead of Ghab al-Walid, my father, Halak al-Walid, my father died and my savior is absent. She said, Ya Muhammad. This narration, she doesn't believe yet. She doesn't say, Ya Rasulullah, Ya Muhammad. In ra'ayta an tukhalli anni. If you feel, you see noble people, when they ask something, even freedom, they ask in a noble way. If you feel that, if you want, or if you see that you let me free, let me go. فَإِنِّي ابْنَةَ سَيِّدُ قَوْمِي. I am the daughter of the master of his people. وَإِنَّ أَبِي كَانَ يَحْمِي الذِّمَارِ. My father used to protect his people and honor also. وَيَفُكُّ الْعَانِي. He used to free the captive, the suffering. Anyone is suffering, he used to free him, her father, Hatem Atta'i, the popular person. وَيُشْبِعُ الْجَائِعَ. And he make the hungry full. وَيَكْسُ الْعَارِ. Clothe the unclothed. وَيُقْرِ الضَّيْفِ. Show hospitality to the guest. وَيُطْعِمُ الطَّعَامِ. Feed food. وَيُفْشِ السَّلَامِ. Spread peace. وَلَمْ يَرُدَّ طَالِبَ حَاجَةٍ. He never rejected or refused to help anyone in need. أَنَا ابْنَةُ حَاتِمْ طَيْ. I am the daughter of Hatem طَيْ. قال لها Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya jariyah, O woman, هذه صفة المؤمن حقا. This is the true quality or qualities of mu'min. لو كان أبوك مسلما لترحمنا عليه. Had your father been a Muslim, I would have asked rahmah for him, mercy for him. خلوا عنها. Let her go free. فإن أباها كان يحب مكارم الأخلاق. For her father used to love noble manners. used to love noble manners, even though non-Muslim. Her father used to love noble manners. Let her free for that. So we continue with Adi bin Hatem after he met with his sister, and he asked her also, what do you think? What do you see? What have you seen? What have you seen about this man? Do you think that I follow him or not? And he said, I hated the place where I live in. He went to the Levant, but he said, I hated it more than I hated Muhammad. When Allah wants good to you, He changes your feeling. He hated the place where he ran away to, the Levant, more than he hated the place of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, or the coming of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And his sister advised him, she said, if he is truly a prophet, you have to go earlier to him, the earlier the better. And if he is not a prophet, if he is a king, by Allah, the manners, the akhlaq that I saw from him, he is not like any other king. She is the daughter of a king and the sister of a king. She knows kings. Then he said, فَذَهَبْتُ إِلَيْهِ بِغَيْرِ أَمَانٍ وَلَا كِتَابٍ. I went to him without any safety. If you remember, Ikrimah bin Abi Jahl radiallahu anh, his wife took safety for him from Rasulullah. Now he said, I came without safety because of the news and the good things that I heard, and then my sister confirmed to me. Then he said, فأتيته وهو جالس في المسجد. I came to him while he is in the masjid. فلما رآني الناس قالوا عدي بن حاتم عدي بن حاتم. When people saw me, they said عدي بن حاتم عدي بن حاتم. They mentioned his name. فدخلت على رسول الله. I went into Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم. فبينما أنا عنده, while I was with him, أتاه رجل فشكى إليه الفاقة. A man came to him and complained about poverty to Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم. ثم أتاه آخر فشكى إليه قطع الطريق. Another man came to him and complained to Rasulullah about highwaymen, about robbery on the way. So some people go on the way and attack those travelers and take money from them. This was the life in the desert. That's why there was a need that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a prophet to spread good manners, akhlaq, safety and peace and love, not killing and attacking. Look nowadays, among Muslims and non-Muslims, among human beings, is there this love? Killing is everywhere, every day, unfortunately, because we are far away from the teachings of Allah, from the loving teachings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then he said, ثم أخذ رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بيدي. Rasulullah hold him from his hand. وقد كان قال قبل ذلك إني لأرجو أن يجعل الله يده في يدي. Rasulullah said before that, I hope that Allah make the hand of Adi in my hand. This is a very, very wise message from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Because Adi bin Hatem, he said, I hated him. I felt that I will lose my leadership. But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, I hope that Allah make his hand in my hand. That means we are gonna be together. If a president of one country make an agreement with a president of another country and they pledge together, does that mean one of them is follower of the other? No. So this is the message that Rasulullah was sending to him. You put your hand in my hand, both of us are leaders, we cooperate together, you remain as a leader, you don't become inferior. With a very short sentence, I hope that Allah makes his hand in my hand. I cannot say other than he is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The wisdom that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught him. فَلَقِيَتْهُ امْرَأَةٌ. So a woman met him with a صبي فقال إن لنا إليك حاجة. We have a haja, we have a need with you. So he said, Rasulullah went with her. I'm going to translate to make it shorter. Rasulullah went with her until he fulfilled her need. And Adi said, by Allah, this is not what kings do. He is a king and his father is a king. And he said, this is not what kings do. Because Good kings usually ask someone, okay, I have a guest with me now, I have a king with me now, so send someone, okay, do what she wants. No, Rasulullah himself came to her, a woman with a boy. Simple woman with a boy. Rasulullah left the king to fulfill her need, because in Islam, the king and the poor people are the same. There is no difference except with taqwa. Then he said, we went inside to the house of Rasulullah, and there are some different narrations here. One of them is that Rasulullah took out his cloak, his aba'ah, put it on the ground for Hatim, and for Adi bin Hatem, and he sit on it, and he is not a Muslim, and Rasulullah sat on the ground. You see the respect, how Rasulullah respected even non-Muslims, gave those people of position, gave them their own respect, their due respect. Rasulullah take out his cloak, his aba'ah, put it on the ground, and he sat on that ground, and Rasulullah sat on that cloak, and Rasulullah sat on the ground, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said to him, ما يفرك أن تقول لا إله إلا الله. What make you run away from saying لا إله إلا الله? See the logic of Rasulullah. فهل تعلم من إله سوى الله? Do you know any God other than Allah? Why you are running away from it? Do you know any God other than Allah? فقال لا. He said, no, I don't know. If you don't know any other God, why you run away? ثم تكلم ساعة. And then Rasulullah was advising him for a while. ثم قال, Rasulullah said, إنما تفر من أن تقول الله أكبر. You are running away from saying Allahu Akbar. Allah is the greatest. فهل تعلم من إله أكبر من الله? Do you know any God greater than Allah? He said no. See the logic of Rasulullah. You are running away from believing in Allah. Do you know any God greater than him? And he said no. If no, why are you running away? This is the meaning. And then Rasulullah spoke to him, gave him some advice, and said, Ya Adi bin Hatem Aslim Taslam, Ya Adi bin Hatem Aslim Taslam, Ya Adi bin Hatem Aslim Taslam. So Rasulullah said, Oh Adi bin Hatem, surrender and you will be safe. Surrender means surrender yourself to Allah. To Allah, who all He wants from you is to live happily in this dunya, and to live with love in this dunya, to spread love, to spread peace among all human beings. And then if you do this, if you live happily in this dunya, Allah will grant you happy life in the akhirah. This is Islam. Then Adi, when Rasulullah said to him, surrender, aslim, taslam, 3 times, he said, Inni min ahli deen. I have my own religion. So why you want me to change my religion? قال Rasulullah said, أنا أعلم بدينك منك. I know your religion more than you do. And Adi was shocked. And أنت أعلم مني بديني? He said, do you know my religion more than me? Rasulullah said, نعم, yes. ألست ركوسيا? Rasulullah said, aren't you a Rakusi? Rakusi is a name of a religion made from Christianity and Sabianism. Sabianism in the Quran mentioned as Sabi'ah, and it has different explanation by scholars. So anyway, Rakusi is a name of a religion. قلت بلى. Adi said, yes, I'm Rakusi. قال ألست ترأس قومك? Aren't you the chief of your people? He said, yes. قال ألست تأخذ مرباع قومك? Don't you take the quarter of the income of your people, 25% for the king tax? قلت بلى. He said, yes, true. قال Rasulullah said, فإن هذا لا يحل لك في دينك. This is haram in your deen, in your religion, not allowed. And Adi said, فتواضعت مني نفسي. I was humbled. He truly know my religion more than I do. Allah taught him, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, أما إني أعلم ما الذي يمنعك الإسلام. I know what prevents you from surrendering yourself to Allah, from becoming Muslim. إنما تقول اتبعه ضعفة من الناس. The weak people followed him. See how Rasulullah speaks to him. He doesn't say if you become a Muslim, you will get Jannah. No. He speaks to him like a king. Something even greater than he imagined. وَمَنْ لَا قُوَّةَ لَهُ. You feel that you said the weak people who have no high standing following him. Not kings, normal people, laymen. وَقَدْ رَمَتْهُمُ الْعَرَبِ. And the Arabs fought them. Rasulullah said, فَوَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِهِ. By the one in whose hand is my soul, meaning by Allah. This is a confirmed oath in Arabic. لَيُتِمَّنَّ اللَّهُ هَذَا الْأَمْرِ. By Allah, this matter, Islam, peace, love, will spread, will be completed. أتعرف الحيرة? Rasulullah ﷺ said to him, do you al Hira? He said, سمعت بها. I heard of it. I didn't see it. Al Hira is a name of place in Iraq, near the Kufa or near Kufa. ولم أرها وقد سمعت بها. I didn't see it, but I heard of it. قال فإن طالت بك حياة لترين الضعينة ترحل من الحيرة حتى تطوف بالكعبة لا تخاف أحدا إلا الله. If you live long, Rasulullah said to him, if you live long, you will see the woman traveler traveling alone from Al-Hira, from Iraq, to the Kaaba, making tawaf around the Kaaba. She fears no one. All the killings, all the highwaymen, all the robbery will be abolished. Love, safety and peace will be established. This is what Rasulullah brings. This is Islam. And that's why Adi said, فَقُلْتُ فِي نَفْسِي فَأَيْنَ لُصُوصُ طَيْءٍ الَّذِينَ سَعَّرُوا فِي الْبِلَادِ. Where are the thieves, the robbers of طَيْء, his tribe? He is Adi Bin Hatem Atta'i, the tribe of طَيْء. Where are those robbers? الَّذِينَ سَعَّرُوا فِي الْبِلَادِ. Sorry. سَعَّرُوا means they make the land run mad because of the killing, of the robbery, of the attacking. سَعَّرُوا, make it run mad. And that's why Allah sent us Islam, Rasulullah, for that issue, to spread love and peace again. And that's why Rasulullah knows the environment he was living in, and that's why he spoke to him something from his own environment, from his own understanding. And Rasulullah continues, وَلَئِنْ طَالَتْ بِكَ حَيَاةً لَتُفْتَحَنَّ كُنُوزُ كِسْرَى. If you live long, the treasures of Khusru, Kisra is the title of the Persian royalty. That means the Persian Empire will be conquered and opened, and the treasures will be taken. The life of the Persian Empire more than 1,000 years. And that was the two superpowers at that time, the Romans and the Persians. And Arabs were between them. So something like unimaginable. How come the Kisra, will lose and be conquered? The Persian Empire? And he was astonished, and he said, Kisra bin Hurmuz. He asked Rasulullah, Kisra, the son of Hurmuz? Rasulullah said, Kisra bin Hurmuz. Rasulullah is taught by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rasulullah continued, because he is a king, and Rasulullah speaking to him like kings, and even something higher than him, he never imagined something to happen. So he felt, I'm humbled in front of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the wisdom, how to speak to people, everyone, based on their level and understanding. And he said, وَلَئِنْ طَالَتْ بِكَ حَيَاةً, Rasulullah continues, لَتَرَيَنَّ الرَّجُلَ يُخْرِجُ مِلْءَ كَفِّهِ ذَهَبًا أَوْ فِضَّةً. If you live long, you will see someone, a person, brings a handful of gold or silver, of sadaqah, trying to roaming in the streets, asking for someone in need to give them the sadaqah, will not find, because justice prevails. People will be no more in need. All are satisfied. And then he said, I said, Ya Rasulullah, when he saw all this, with the truthfulness and transparency and the nur of Nubuwwah comes together with the speech of Rasulullah that goes to his heart direct, he said, Ya Rasulullah, I'm a Muslim. I'm a Muslim. So Adi bin Hatem said, فَرَأَيْتُ وَجْهَهُ تَبَسَّطَ فَرَحًا. His face was, shining in happiness. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He was so happy. Why? Rasulullah will not get anything from him because he saved him. One day Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was sitting and a janazah, a funeral of a non-Muslim, someone who didn't accept Islam, died. Rasulullah was sad and he said, I lost him. He died before I take him to Jannah, lost. So Rasulullah was so happy for Adi bin Hatem because he became a Muslim. Inshallah, he will go to Jannah. And then Adi said, Rasulullah commanded me to live with one of Al-Ansar, and I used to come to Rasulullah morning and night to learn Islam from him. And then Adi said to the companions, now all of us, we see the woman still in his life, come from Iraq to Medina alone, safe, peace, love, all spread, safe. And he also said, not only that, and I was one of the soldiers who conquered the Persian Empire, and by Allah, the third one will happen. It didn't happen in the life of Adi, but he said it will happen because Rasulullah said it, where money will be flooded. This happened during the time of Umar bin Abdul Aziz radiallahu anhu, who was a just caliph. Money flooded, and they said to the caliph, money is flooding. Then he said, see anyone in need who didn't get married, marry them. They did so, and money kept flooding because of justice, and people are not greedy just to take more and more. They were satisfied with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he said, anyone needs a house, buy them a house. They bought houses for those who don't have. Then he said, build hospitals. They build free hospitals. Then he said, build travel station for rest, for people on the way to rest, also for free. They did so. Money kept flooding. And he said, anyone non-Muslim living under the Muslim rule in need, give them money. They gave them, and still money flooding. And then I also found in one of the books that he gathered money and sent to a non-Muslim king and said to him, give this money to the needy people of yours, non-Muslims, outside the Muslim rule. This is the message that Islam spreads. This is the message that Allah wants us. This is the message that Rasulullah brought us, and this is the life that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to live. This is Islam. The story of Adi bin Hatem come to an end, and it is very, very rich story. We learn a lot from it. Number one, we should not take anything without getting sure of it. Like Adi bin Hatem, 22 years he prevented himself and his tribe from following Rasulullah because of the hypes and the propaganda. 22 years almost, the final year of the life of Rasulullah, he accepted Islam. Number two, wisdom is very important. The wisdom of Rasulullah, he knew how to send a message to him, his hand in my hand. He knew how to speak to him, kings, about safety, about love. And number three, the beauty of Islam. Islam come to make us live happy life, to be happy in this dunya. Allah doesn't need our prayer when we pray. Salah, Allahu Akbar. Do we give anything to Allah? If we fast, do you think that you save some food for Allah to give to the poor? Do you think Allah needs your food? Or when you give sadaqah, do you think Allah needs your money? No, it is just to spread love and peace and show an attitude of gratitude for all the favors that Allah gave us. Allah gave you eyes, ears to hear, tongue, make you healthy, gave you family, gave you money, make you a Muslim, make you know Him. Is that not sufficient? Is not that worthy to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us, and this is Islam. With that, we come to the end of the episode today. See you inshallah in the next episode. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: من دعا إلى هدى كان له من الأجر مثل أجور من تبعه لا ينقص ذلك من أجورهم شيئا. رواه Muslim. Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, said, anyone who calls to guidance will have a reward equal to the reward of those who adhere to it, without their reward being diminished in any respect. Narrated by Muslim. If you think there is guidance in this video, share it and call others to it.